All right, let's lock in. Hi, muckers. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit of a different tone. So we are going to be talking today about people we've never, I don't think, spoken about on my YouTube channel, and that is Drew and Enya. Now, they are two content creators that run the podcast Emergency Intercom, and it actually was one of my favorite podcasts. It's been going on for a very, very, very long time now. I think they're on episode getting close to 200. Hold on, let me check. Episode 185 is the one we're current on, and they are being called out, and people are not happy. And as someone who really enjoys their content, their recent episode was very, very, very bad. And not to be, there's this meme going around right now when it's like, oh, when you're the too woke friend, and people will say it whenever you're like calling something out, they'll be like, not to be the too woke friend, but, and then they'll say something, and I'm gonna say it right now, like, not to be the too woke friend here, but like, we are used to online, making jokes, saying statements. We, on this YouTube channel specifically, are no stranger to a little bit of an insensitive joke here and there, or a tongue-in-cheek moment, if you will. But I do believe that there's a line. And I believe that the line has to come from insensitivity and privilege. And I think that Drew and Enya have crossed a line here, and I think that the internet has seen it. So, again, their recent episode is called episode 185, Things Are Changing, and the reaction to it has been horrible. They are about to get ratioed in dislikes, and this never normally happens with Drew and Enya. Like, the podcast is normally really liked, people really enjoy it, and again, they are super successful. They're known for making jokes, they're known for making, kind of out there statements at times, and people love it. I love it, I've watched the podcast. But I think that this recent specific episode, I remember whenever I watched it on my own, I felt this way, and I was like, oof. And I normally listen to the podcast as like background noise. And then I go on TikTok and I'm like seeing a video or two about it. And I'm like, oh my God, people agree with me. And then I'm starting to see tweets go viral about it. And I'm like, oh damn. And then there's now TikToks that are gone viral about it. So let's dive into all of that. I also just want to let you know that we are currently watching Escape the Night, Joey Graceffa's show, on my Patreon. And my God, it is the worst show ever. It is the worst show ever. We're watching like an episode a day over there. So if you want to go over, I also reacted to Ariana Grande's new album. So, hello, album. Album, so good. Escape the Night, we are reacting to it. We also reacted to Beast Games on here, and we did the entire thing. There's just so much content over on my Patreon if you want to go over. And also, leg 2 of my tour, the Chronically online tour, is happening this month. In only like 20 days, we are starting up again in Nashville. So if any muckers are in Nashville, Philly, Washington, Boston, Minneapolis, Detroit, Chicago, we're going back again. Orlando, Houston, Atlanta, Phoenix, San Diego, San Francisco. Let me know if you're coming. I can't wait to meet all the muckers. I was going back and watching all the videos from leg 1, and I'm really excited. There's a lot of changes for the show, and I'm just excited to hang out with the muckers again. It's going to be a fun spring. Is that spring? Yeah, I think it is spring. So let me tell you what happened. So on the podcast, they were talking, and Drew brings up this. He basically just makes an offhanded comment about how Greta Thunberg has fallen off. And the reason that people are calling it out is so kind of far beyond just the comment. So we're going to play it, and then we're going to talk about it.
You know who else fell the fuck off? You know who else fell off? Greta Thunberg. That bitch is in the gutters, bitch. Like, sorry, bitch. Like, but what was I saying? Oh, yeah, Greta Thunberg fell off. Bitch is in the gutter.
But poor girl, she was fighting for a cause that she felt so strong for.
I think
but
she's
like,
still fighting for it, but in like 20 years, she'll probably
fighting
be
where? Because I
president.
don't see her.
Yeah. She was skipping class. Josiah said she didn't want to be in school. She did all that, like me faking sick to get out of class, me faking to be a climate change activist to skip class. Wait, that's looking a
Me
method.
claiming to be a martyr for a cause after finding out about what's her name? The one
Casey
girl.
Anthony.
No, the one girl.
Okay, wait. And then there's a kind of like a part 2 right here.
But what was I saying? Oh, yeah, Greta Thunberg fell off. Bitch is in the gutter. literally was that girl. She was like fighting for climate change.
Her saying she shouldn't be up there, like, you're right. You should be in school, and your parents kind of suck for not letting you just go to school and be fucking normal. Like, go to school, be normal.
I think she's still fighting for it, but in like 20 years she'll probably
fighting where? Because I don't see her.
Wait, she did all that, like me faking sick to get out of class, me faking to be a climate change activist to skip class.
And about what's her name? The one
Casey
girl.
Anthony?
No, the one girl who she learned how to read and it was illegal, and she never. I guess she kind of fell off. Malala.
Malala.
See, actually, no, Malala low-key never fell off. Like, Malala is always that girl. Greta, you fell off because, seriously, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, we, like, don't, like, what?
No, I support everything. Don't get me wrong.
No, I do, but, like, you know what I mean. Like, she literally was in school. She learned about Malala. She was like, wait, there's a method to the madness. I really fuck with sustainability. Let me just see if this will get me out of class. Yeah. And it works.
Skip. But what was I saying? Oh, yeah.
Okay, and so, again, before we dive in a little bit further, the reason, again, not to be the too woke friend here, obviously, Drew and Enya, their podcast is making jokes here and there, and the reason that this one feels a little bit different and why everyone is calling them out is because their podcast started up because, I mean, they're both really funny, and they both, you know, were very different towards the, like, LA scene and the kind of the out of touch of it all. And then, you know, they moved to LA. So we moved to LA. My father was a Jehovah's Witness. Moved to LA, and it's just that story of where people move, like content creators, I just want to specify, will move to LA and they just become so fucking out of touch or so fucking arrogant or just like this clip at its core is crazy because, again, not to be the too woke friend, but Greta, my good friend Greta, is still out here. And the reason that we don't hear about Greta anymore is because Greta really is outspoken now about, you know, human issues and things that are going on. And, you know, we've seen Greta be fighting in Africa, in like the Western Sahara, and she has been so blackballed by the mainstream media because of her talking for and fighting for, you know, Sudan, Congo, Palestine. You know, she is at these rallies and the media supported her until they didn't support her because of this. So again, it's just incredibly like insensitive, you know, for these people to, you know, be on their podcast talking about this when, again, she has Greta at her core now has basically gone from the media's, you know, green queen to she's given her platform to, you know, supporting Indigenous people. And that's why Greta is, you know, being basically kicked off the mainstream. And if anything, Greta is struggling more so now, but she is fighting for these things. And again, it's just an example of people moving to LA and getting incredibly, incredibly out of touch and just, ugh. And it makes me so sad because I love this podcast, but it's just not good. Not good. So I want to pull up this video that a lot of people have been tagging me in. Let me really quickly get it here. It was someone talking about Drew and Enya.
I think the worst thing that can happen to anybody who builds a platform off of being relatable and telling stories and overall just being a likable person is slowly becoming more and more out of touch as time goes on. That move to LA has ruined so many good content creators, and I just think we're seeing it happen most recently with Drew and Enya, the Emergency Intercom podcast. From what I understand, one of the biggest draws of their content was that they would talk about their personal lives and share personal stories, and they have like an outright reluctance to do that now, which is fine, they don't have to, but I feel like a big reason why they don't do that is every single person they know is another LA influencer with like bare minimum 500,000 followers. If you have like, for example, a bad date with someone and that person just so happens to be a YouTuber with 3 million subscribers, you can't tell your fans about it. But they haven't replaced that piece of their podcast with anything else. So they end up starting the podcast with no topics planned. They start waffling for an hour. And that's how you end up with horrible political takes like Greta Thunberg is washed up and a bitch. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Who says that? I honestly think it's time to move on. Find a new podcast and start the cycle all over again. I think the worst thing that can happen to anybody...
Now, one thing I really want to touch on that, and I think that's really interesting, and I haven't thought about that before. I do also want to get to the comments on this, and I do also want to get to this video. Now, I do just want to play it in silence because there's heavy copyrighted music on it, but it was them talking about Greta, and it was like a really well-edited video of everything that Greta has been doing since this time, you know, of them saying that she's been fallen off, and it just, I don't know. Again, it just is an example of people moving to LA and getting incredibly out of touch. And just, so back to that video before we get to their comments, I think that's so interesting, and I've never thought about it like that. That these people, before they move to LA, will build their careers off of relatability and their one-on-one with their audience. But when they build up so much that they're able to move to LA, they are in social circles where it's a hierarchy. So they don't want to fuck up that hierarchy, so they won't have that transparency with their audience anymore. And then you run into situations like this because you're not, you know, at its fundamental core, being able to do what your original concept of your audience love was. Let's read some of these comments. Y'all are becoming the exact people you made fun of. Me when I'm a rich LA influencer with no self-awareness. Half-assed apology is coming. This episode feels like a meeting with old friends I haven't seen in years and we don't vibe anymore. Oof. Is this true? The way y'all removed the Palestine fundraiser from your bio and then you talk about activists falling off, money hungry and uneducated. Greta isn't in the gutter. She's fighting for Palestine and the media are silencing her. She's a diva. Put some respect in her name. It feels like you're the third friend and they're low-key bullying you to your face. Y'all are saying how Greta fell off at 22 when she's actually doing something with her life that helps people and is making a difference in the world, while y'all are 25 sitting at home all day with a 14-hour screen time recording a podcast. Well, I can't make any fun about screen time. This comes from a place of love when I say you guys really need to figure out what you're going to do with this podcast. If you don't want to talk about personal life things, then fine. So what are you guys going to talk about? If you don't prepare topics anymore. Don't bring up topics only to shut them down 3 seconds later in favor of talking shit about activists while you do nothing but talk for 1 to 2 hours a week. I thought the month break would give you guys clarity, but all it seems to have done is boost y'all's egos and create a further distance between you and your fans. Also, releasing a funniest moments from the first 10 minutes of the episode when those are the same episodes which were included in other funniest moments, and then adding 4 sponsorships is nasty work. What I find weird is that Enya is constantly saying how she hates men and how they treat everyone like shit, which I'm fine with, lol, but she lets Drew freely and often call Greta and Malalia bitches. Just because he's your best friend, he's gay, doesn't mean he can be exempt from calling them a bitch, especially when they have and do good with their lives. Okay, so that's what's interesting as well. They did take a big break from their last episode to this one, which is why people are, like, even more pissed, because they're like, wow, like, we waited and you came back with this. I don't know. It's unfortunate. I really liked the podcast, but I don't know. Again, not to be the friend that's too woke, but this just feels very, very, very unnecessary and just incredibly out of touch. So I want to know your opinion of it. Let's talk about it down below. I appreciate you being here, and goodbye.